rocking my boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Busy day here in Sacramento. Welcome in to the King's Court. How you doing? Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. A lot going on in the world of the Kings right now. As you are hearing, roster cuts have begun. We've got the details of those going on in the scroll below. But do me a favor. I know it's a little chilly right now outside. I know that we're all a little bit uneasy. Is that a fair way to put it? Uneasy based off of what we've seen in the preseason so far, but it's over. It's done. Forget about it. I know it's kind of hard to forget about it. Forget about it. No. Trends, I get it, but put it aside. Let's have a good show. The show is open to all of you today. So get in here. You can call the show. I've got the link in the chat. Also on the screen, as you see, we are rolling out some new stuff for the channel, testing it out before Thursday. Let me know what you think about it. You know, anybody that watches this show religiously, how rich is it that Haunted Horse came at me for the way this show looks? What's up with that? What is up with that? We discussed that a couple days ago. See, I'm trying to lighten the mood here. After what we saw last night, that first half of Kings basketball in LA, I don't know really what to say about it. You know what can make you feel better, though? How about this? Go to Bennett's. It's brunch this weekend. Get there. Get a bottle of champagne, couple entrees under $50. One of my favorite places. Weather should be nice and chilly weather. This is what I'm talking about. This is my favorite time of the year, bar none. This is the best time of the year in Sacramento. I don't mind the cold. Some people do. But anyways, like I was saying, get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can learn more about all of their locations. They've got 3 in the area. Also, check out their fabulous menu. Menu is incredible. Doesn't break the bank. You won't leave hungry. A great place. Little date night. If you're going to do one of those with the missus or the mister, go check it out. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the Kings Court today. The schedule, Grant's going to be here at 8 o'clock. He's going to do an open forum show. So if you want to get Grant's reaction on last night's game, I did the post-game solo. Grant had another commitment come up. I can assure you, though, once the regular season starts, we will be here together almost every single game for postseason or for the regular season for the post-game show. In fact, I think I only did like 1 or 2 games on my own last year. So we're getting ramped up. We're looking forward to having you here. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's when you can find out when we will be on the air. Check us out on the X. Check us out on YouTube. Our entire library of stuff is there. Everything, including shows like this, but also special shows. Like we've had Scott Pollard. Grant had him not too long after his heart transplant surgery. Sean Salisbury, every single Wednesday, every Wednesday. Good football stuff. Speaking of football, I bet that Haunted Horse dude's going to drop in sometime today to talk about football. But join Grant tonight, 8 o'clock. You can hit him with whatever you want. And don't forget, you get to choose his rant. That's kind of a cool new thing that we are rolling out. Compliments of EDH Motors. Yes, it is called a rant with Grant. A rant with Grant. So if you have a rant ideas, there's something bugging you. Did something tick you off? I know a lot of things that ticked me off last night, but if anything's bugging you, doesn't have to be in the world of sports. It can be wherever. put it in the chat. Grant might choose it, and he will do his rant on that. That is brought to you by EDH Motors. So, King's cuts underway. The most recognizable cut so far, Boogie Ellis. We've talked about him. I thought Boogie had a really, really good preseason, considering. Now, take that on the curve. Put a grain of salt in your mouth when I say that, because the Kings did not have a great preseason for the most part. But Boogie played pretty well. I thought for the guys, first year, second year guys, the game did not look like it was moving too fast for Boogie. I thought his NBA, I calling it an NBA body. Look at that. That was my thought coming out before I filtered it. He has an NBA body. He's going to get picked up somewhere. A lot of questions. I've seen him on social. I've had some people hit me up. Why would they not bring him into Stockton? It's a little more complicated than that. Boogie's probably going to be going through the G League draft if he does not get picked up by another NBA team, which is important to also point out, because as the Kings make cuts, they're not the only team in the association doing so. So who could become available? We're hearing all these different rumors going around the NBA, some big names. What about Giannis? Now, they're not going to be cutting Giannis, but a lot of talk about possibly him being out of town. That article on Monday in The Athletic dropped where De'Aaron sat down and detailed his thinking. It wasn't anything that we didn't know before, but you got it straight from the horse's mouth with him saying that. And I completely respect it. I reported on it back in June. In fact, I think it was like June 24th, that he wanted to see how this roster develops. He wants a chip. He wants to win a championship. So I get it. He's going into his 9th year in the association, and he's in his prime. So let's see what they do this year. Again, preseason, it's what it's for. It's what it's for. But I will say this, they're only winless preseason since 1991. How does that hit you? 1991. Let's get to the chat really quick. The other names, not big surprises. Terry Taylor, I know Coach Brown had said some good stuff about him in the preseason, especially in practice. Because here's the thing. We're looking at these preseason games. A lot of fans are strictly looking at those 5 games. And you could make an argument. In fact, I will make the argument that what they see in practice is just as important as what they see in the games. So high praise from Coach Brown for Terry, but Terry Taylor on his way out of Sacramento. No surprise there. Broderick is also on his way out. A move that the Kings are being reported to do. I've not been able to independently confirm it, but there is a report out there. It is in the ticker if you want to check it out, that the Kings are going to be signing Sharif O'Neal. Yes, son of Shaquille O'Neal. He's played very, very sparingly in the G League for the G League Ignite, excuse me. And the plan is for him to be waived and for him to ultimately sign with Stockton. We will see if that pans out. I am not reporting that. That is a report that is out there right now. Haven't confirmed it yet. So I can't give you a confirmation on that. But when I do, you will know. So that's why you got to pay attention to the X account as well. Let's like I said, let's kick it off with the calls. A lot to talk about. Today, we'll have a WWE segment that we do every single week with Adam. And then look at this guy just carving out when he thinks he's coming in. Haunted horse, see you at 3-ish. All right, I'll plan my show around you, buddy. You got it. 3-ish it is. Let's go to Jay. What's up, Jay? How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
Doing well, man.
Yeah, you made some good points. Sharif O'Neal, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Getting picked up. Apparently, they're going to waive him, I think. Is that
to go down to Stockton. I have not been able to confirm it. I forget the name of the guy that's got it out there. Jake Gaydon, I believe. Jake Gaydon is the one reporting that. So
yeah. You know what's funny? I was having a conversation last night with my friend after the game about Boogie Ellis and what he brings to the table. And he said, he thinks Boogie Ellis is better than McLaughlin. I don't know what to call him. Jordan McLaughlin. And I completely disagreed with him, and we were kind of going back and forth. So I wanted to get your take on that statement.
You're
Boogie Ellis.
100% right. He is not better than Jordan McLaughlin.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah,
And,
he's not.
you know, the experience. Jordan didn't play too well yesterday, but I mean, he for the most part, you saw what he can be in this offense with a plug and play kind of guy with that experience playing with, you know, stars, good players, good coaches. Chris Finch over there in Minnesota. Yeah, no, he's NBA ready, and if you're gonna have some guy come off the bench and start as a point guard off the bench, I'm picking Jordan over Boogie Ellis, and that's no disrespect to Boogie Ellis because he did great in college, and you could see his potential and what he can be in the NBA.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about, we're not trying to waste any more years or any time right now. We're trying to compete right now. So you definitely would pick Jordan. Yesterday's game with that, I watched the full game. I forced myself to watch it. Painful.
You sat through the whole second half,
It was
huh?
painful. And you know what
It
was
was
even more
hard.
painful about it is they didn't stream it on my YouTube TV. So I had to go to Stream East or one of those internet streams. So I kept getting ads and it kept buffering. So it was extra painful, just to say the least.
You know what you can do? So it's streaming on kings.com/live. So anytime in the preseason that they're not on TV, if you're within 75 miles of G1C, you can go to that and you'll get the full link. And then you get to also listen to the G-Man as well.
What? Okay, so
Yeah.
Kings Live, pretty much.
Kings.com/live. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will look into that. Well, I don't. Do they do that throughout the regular season as well?
No, just the preseason. Any of the preseason games this is the second season they've done it, but any of the preseason games that aren't being broadcast by the other team, that's what the Kings will usually do.
Okay, yeah. So I had to sit through that the pop up ads and
That's a lot of commitment, dude.
it's
Those
commitment.
are
It was
so
painful.
bad, and they screw up your computer too.
Oh yeah, they
You
do.
got to be careful about that,
Yeah.
man, because you hit one thing and you get like 3 or 4 different pop-ups that come up.
Oh yeah, no. My girlfriend sits next to me sometimes when I'm watching it, and a couple of not safe for work ads pop up or whatever you want to call it, adult
Yeah.
ads. So she's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to watch the Kings game." And then so now she'll make a running joke like, "Oh, are you watching your stuff?"
You watching your Kings game.
Yeah, but yeah, you got to be careful with those. But I feel like yesterday was very painful to watch. It was, to me, it wasn't even a preseason game. It was a summer league game at some point in time. You didn't have your bench. You didn't have one of your starters. DeRozan, he's a professional. He's not going to come out playing like that. You can definitely tell it was, I don't want to say he was lollygagging, but it was a lot of just mental errors. He wasn't as locked in as he was game one of the preseason. Sabonis he's a fighter. So much respect to Sabonis. You know, he started off very slow.
Yeah.
And he was able to turn that around. And I think that's credit to the coaching too with Mike Brown and wanting to, you know, leave your players in, your stars in, because you don't want to necessarily have them leave on that bad note, and you want them to kind of fight adversity in the preseason a little bit and get into the rhythm of the game, because not every game is going to be smooth. You're not going to start off on fire every single game. You're going to have to work for it, for your shots and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would call that a summer league game yesterday.
I think you're being a little generous. I mean, there were some summer league games that
were
were
better?
easier
Really?
to watch than that first half. All of us are focusing on the players, and I agree with you. It was uninspired from everybody.
Yes.
Even I hate to say Domas, but he had his moments too. There were things in that game that Domas would never usually do, and maybe it's because they were pushing, looking for something to get them back into the game, get a little spark. In the first half, their longest stretch of field goals in a row was 3, dude. 3 field goals in a row.
Yeah.
But also, I got to look at the bench too. What about Coach Brown? What the hell were they doing with the second unit? Alex Len does not run the DHO. In no world should Alex Len ever be running the DHO, and that's what they were doing with the
Yeah, you know
second
what?
team.
That's very true. You know, when you run a DHO with a big man, your guy has to be able to handle the ball somewhat. You don't have to be Kyrie Irving, but you have to be able to protect the dribble.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a guy that you run a pick and roll with. He's a guy that get as close as you
bingo.
can to the basket, and I'll throw it up there for you, or a bounce pass on the post after the pick and roll. You don't sit there and you have him, coming off of a down screen or throwing it to the high post, and then he's dribbling up and to the elbow, or no, you don't do that with Alex Len. He looked kind of awkward out there trying to do that yesterday. I agree with you 100%. But like you said, it was a strange game because you're looking at what's going on with the bench, right? Like that's why I called it a summer league game, because you have
Yeah,
these two-way guys that are playing in the summer league. You got these. I mean, you don't really have any draft picks out there, so unfortunately,
yeah.
coming out there to play, and you've got two-way players like I don't know if Colby Jones is a two-way or not, but like Mason Jones.
He should be a regular roster spot right now. Go ahead though.
Well, long story short is just like these guys aren't, like I said earlier, these are back of the bench guys. Like these are guys that probably aren't going to be at every away game. They'll probably be at some Stockton Kings games developing. They're out there playing, and that's all right. Like I said, we have injuries, we have whatever. But that it was it was tough to watch. It really
It
was.
was
Did
Colby.
you watch the whole game?
I did up until about the 6-minute mark in the fourth, and then
Okay, yeah, me too.
I
Probably,
started the post game show after
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, me too. Just yeah.
So really quick, your two ways as we sit today are Isaiah Crawford, Mason Jones, and Isaac Jones. Colby's on a regular spot. Look, I don't want to unleash on Colby, but he looks the same, if not has regressed a little bit
Yeah.
from last season. I just don't. I don't know, and this is classic, Monday morning quarterbacking. I just felt like regardless of the result on the court in Utah, that was the Kings dress rehearsal. That
Yeah.
was when you played your starters, you played your rotation exactly how you would have in a regular season game. And I get the result wasn't what you wanted, but if you look at the different categories that the Kings are focusing on this training camp now, this season, we are now in season. This
Mhm.
season, it's pace, right? They got up 105 shots in that game, Jay. They won the paint game. They had a ton of offensive rebounds. They turned Utah over a lot. I just don't think the starters should have played last night. I don't.
Yeah.
And take it for what you will. And here's the thing, how much does that Malik Monk comment play into Mike Brown over the last couple games, deciding what he did with the starters, saying we're tired, something he probably should have kept in-house?
I don't think it's like a diss to Mike Brown or whatever he's saying. Um, I They could be tired. That could just be the truth. Mike Brown, he's a very passionate coach. We see it, in the practices and whatnot in the games. But I mean, I don't really feel like that is necessarily the problem. I think the problem is I don't just like you said, Utah, we had the rotations, right? But we kind of didn't at the same time with, like I said, that bench. We're missing.
Well, you're missing Lyles and Herter. Absolutely.
Right. And then Monk played. But the first game, he left early and then he missed like 2 or 3, and then the last game. So it's like the guys that are really playing, that are going to play, haven't played. And is that a problem? It's debatable.
You can't say that about Utah, though. Everybody played except Herter and Lyles. Everybody that would play. And you got to figure in a regular season situation, especially coming off last year, the Kings aren't always going to be perfectly healthy. But I understand
Yeah.
your sentiment. Mike Brown did not have his full deck of cards.
It would have been nice to have that for
Yes.
sure. To at least get one preseason game where it's like everybody is, in the rotation who's supposed to be in the rotation. And then you add someone like Doug McDermott, who I think is going to be a rotational player off the bench. He'll probably play the 3 or 4 off of the bench. And there's a lot of lineups you can mix and match now with someone like that on the floor. So if you count him too in there, we're missing another player. And it's tough. I know I've
Well,
said it.
are you missing another player, or are you just not good enough? And I don't have this opinion. I don't have a huge problem with what they're riding into the season with as of today. But you've got the 5 starters, then you've got, and we're assuming everybody's healthy. You've got Malik, you've got Trey, you've got Kevin, you got McLaughlin, you got Alex Len, and you got Doug McDermott. That's 11 right there.
Mhm. I would
You
say,
know,
I think that's a good enough. Let's call that the bench unit. You know, I definitely think that's a upgrade after the Jalen McDaniels move.
it's a little awkward that he's wearing 7, right? And he's being asked to play the same role as 7 last year.
Yeah, Vazenkov, right? I
Yes.
noticed that. I was like, I mean, I think it's an
Yeah.
upgrade from Vazenkov just because of the
Yes,
years
it
in the
is.
NBA.
Certainly. Absolutely.
And he honestly looked a little bit more athletic, surprisingly, for being 32. Known as a shooter, not the most athletic, but I mean, when we're looking at Vazenkov play defense, I mean, his footwork looked a little bit better. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Doug, they're different body styles. Doug's
Yeah.
leaned out a little bit over the years. I'm not going to say he's necessarily quicker, but yeah, Sasha was a little bit, and bless Sasha, he tried and he did decent sometimes guarding the ball, but none of those guys are going to make your defense better, either of them.
Yeah, and
They
then
don't make it worse though.
that's definitely fair. But I think Doug would make the offense better. So if you got to contribute something, you're gonna have to eat on one side of the floor. And I'm not saying he's gonna make the starting unit necessarily better because he's probably not going to start unless for some reason we're in injury.
I
Trouble.
think Doug's going to be used in the exact same role as Sasha last year. I think Doug's going to be like the stopgap if you need somebody between quarters and you're
Really?
getting one of the guys a rest, or one of the bench guys that's getting heavy minutes because the starter's not playing well or getting hurt or got hurt. Maybe you see him in 50, 60 games, 8-9 minutes here and there. If he
Oh,
gets hot, Mike Brown might ride him for the rest of the game like he did with Sasha last year, but I don't see much beyond that. Could be wrong. Do you see more than that?
I would hope so.
Okay.
I think it's like I said, it's a different dynamic of play styles. That's a huge thing, being overseas and then coming over here and having your career here. I think he knows what it's like to play against NBA level competition. And I think I'm not saying I want him to play 30 minutes a night. That's not
Sure.
what I'm saying
No, I
at all.
got you.
But I think you could even do let's say a bench with, let's say Herter starts instead of Keon. Actually, that actually kind of makes the bench a little awkward. Um, let's say Keon starts
Mm-hmm.
for the reason that Kevin Herter's bigger and he can play the backup 3. So you have McLaughlin, Monk at the 2, or vice versa. Doesn't really matter. They're just guards. And then you
Right.
put Herter at the 3, and McDermott at the 4, and then you put Lyles at the 5. You kind of have a nice bench that can shoot the ball really well, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. That's the thing. And people that are panicking, and Jay, thanks for the call today, brother. Hope you have
Yeah.
a good weekend. Who's Oregon State playing this week?
I've
Like, I don't know.
no, I don't know.
School going okay though?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
This season the Pac-2 isn't looking too good. That's why. So,
Good stuff. Hey, appreciate the call, brother.
all right, thank you.
Jay kicking us off. Always a good conversation with Jay. If you want to join the show, I'd be more than happy to have you on. Just hit that link that's in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. Doug shot the 3-point shot at 36.4% last night. Not terrible, not bad, considering it was his first action of the preseason. And he didn't have any training camp. He had a day to get with the team and start digesting everything. And that's what's important about a veteran like that. First, he has played the DHO action before. So he's familiar with Sabonis. He gets the NBA is a copycat league. A lot of the stuff that teams run is very similar. Terminology might be different. Certain sets certainly are different. It's what makes each team a little bit unique. But catching on to that, that's still a little bit of a process with the terminology, the faces, the coaching staff. So I thought Doug did fine last night, especially considering what he had out there to work with, the way the team was playing. Now, going back to Jay's last point about the shooting, we could have a good shooting team. I'm firmly in the camp that I'm not crazy worried about the Kings shooting. It's going to come around. The law of averages, looking at this team over a 2-year stretch, it's going to come around. And predominantly, the core of this team has not changed now going into a third season. So the question becomes, what can the Kings do to get themselves out of those lulls? Because I track, and those that watch the Kings Court know this, I track every possession. And I felt so bad, by the way, for the G-Man. Did anybody watch the stream last night? Because you got the G-Man's broadcast and you're watching the arena feed from the Intuit Dome. But the Intuit Dome is paperless. And for whatever reason, their system was not working. G-Man had no stats to work with. He didn't have his trends, his spotter, who's normally right there, handing him a piece of paper, is scrambling around to do stuff. So he made the best out of it. So G-Man, well done. Consummate professional. But getting back to my point, this was the Kings midway through, I should say, after the 21-16 timeout in the first quarter. Here's what the Kings did. Free throws. They were on, and that capped an 8-0 run, which went to 10-0 because they got a 2 after that. So free throws at 2. And after that offensive rebound in 2, this is how the Kings went from the end of the first into the second quarter. Turnover, missed 3, offensive rebound, which means there was a missed shot. Missed 3, offensive rebound, missed 2, end of quarter, down 30-20. Start the second quarter. This is how they come out. Free throws, missed 2, timeout by Coach Brown, because the Clippers came out with a little run at the start of the second quarter. After the timeout, offensive rebound, missed 2 offensive rebounds, then free throws for Domas, turnover. Kings' 12th turnover. And then finally, the next time down the court, another offensive rebound and a 2-point basket. So the question becomes, who the hell is going to stop that? Because last season, we didn't have a stopgap for that. And that's why the Kings were either up by 20 or down by 20. And if you are a betting man, the favorite to be the person to stop runs like that, bad runs, is DeMar DeRozan. And I'm not putting it all on DeMar's shoulders, but that's why I track shots, so I can track trends. So for me, I'm looking at trends. I don't judge the preseason and say this team's doomed, but I do look for trends. And that is a trend that we saw too many times last season. And the Kings weren't able to get themselves back into games. Now, conversely, and it wasn't as true in the second half of the season, because the Kings were able to play defense first basketball. They nearly tripled their net rating in the second half of the season while dealing with injuries. The Kings would go on great defensive runs, awesome defensive runs. They'd get 6, 7, 8, 9 stops in a row, but they'd only get like 1 basket 2 baskets during that time. So again, who's going to be the person that puts their foot down? Nobody put their foot down last night. And don't tell me that they had a great third quarter. 31 points in the third quarter. They had 31 points in the third quarter because Mike Brown kept his starters in. The Clippers did not. And the Clippers were without James Harden. Obviously, without Kawhi Leonard. So, again, a lot to talk about. I want to hear from you, though. We can keep going over what's going on. I have ignored the chat. Happy everybody is here today on a Friday. So really quick, I know the point came up about Jordan McLaughlin really quick. And I would tell you this. He had a sprained ankle. He was out of training camp for a week and a half, 2 weeks, basically all at camp. And he comes in and plays 2 games. Played one of the only guys that played pretty well against Portland and then played really well against Utah. And Mike Brown decides to start him over anybody else on the bench, over Mason Jones, over Colby Jones, over Boogie, anybody else at that position. That tells you how much confidence Mike Brown and this organization has in Jordan. And it's not confidence like Jordan's going to raise this team to a championship level. No, it's confidence that he will do the things that the Kings need that type of player to do. Jordan does all the little stuff that doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. And you need a player like that, as Mike Brown has said a lot of times in this preseason, to take those things off of Fox's plate, take those things off of Domas's plate. It's really important. So that to me is why if you want to have the McLaughlin versus Boogie conversation, there isn't one. It's McLaughlin over Boogie. Now we can have a conversation about Boogie separately. Happy to do that. In fact, thrilled. We are talking about this Boogie and not that Boogie. So anyways, good stuff there. Let's get to the chat. Derek, Boogie deserves at least a 2-way. We saw that one. We'll see what happens. I think I don't want to go on the record saying it. I got to talk to one of my sources. I am 99% sure Boogie has to go through the G League draft. 99% sure, or at least it's in his best interest to go through the G League draft if another team does not pick him up. Remember, you can't rule that out. He might get picked up by another team as teams continue to make their cuts down to 15. Derek, Jay's computer is now a bot mining when he's not looking. I used to do it all the time. I used to try to find UFC fights. I used to try to find, before there was the WWE Network, WWE events, and they are some shady websites, like some really shady websites. And I'm not talking about the content of the pop-ups. Like you hit one wrong button on one of those pop-ups, depending on what kind of device you're using, it'll authorize it to go into your calendar and start, like putting its own calendar. You got to be careful. So that's why I was like, Jay, dude, get to kings.com/live. Doug looked good. Looked like a solid role player. I guess, sure, maybe. It depends, Derek, on your expectations for Doug. If you think Doug is going to be taking Trey Lyles' job, then no. But for the role that I've been told the Kings are hoping he can fill, yes, I do completely agree with you there. Doug moves better than Sasha. Agreed. Completely agree. Dalton Connect went off last night. What did he go off for? Derek, I couldn't pick up the controller and watch any more basketball last night after the post-game show. I just couldn't do it. So what did he do last night? Would love to hear. I mean, a pure versus what we have right now. A pure versus what we have. You want Boogie. Okay. Dennis, I always have to try to make sense of your comments, man. I love it. He is nothing like Terrence Davis to me. Nothing. But that's okay. Appreciate the comment. Keon played terrible. He did. Arturo, welcome in, by the way. Arturo, you know what? You can get a hell.
Give me a hell yeah.
You are spot on. Keon did not have a good preseason. And I'm not even talking about the offensive end of the court. Take the offensive end out of the conversation. He did not have a good preseason defensively. Game 1, he looked a little bouncy to me. Game 2, a little bit overplaying and out of position. Last night, 4 fouls in 9 minutes. Yeah, he did not have a good preseason. But Arturo, we can't just point him out like he's the only one that had a bad preseason defensively. That list is much longer than Keon Ellis. Flores, what's up, man? This team is isn't going to be a defensive team. The Kings will need to have a good or great shooting night to win games. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Yes, agree. That's why pace, they want to be back in the top 5. I agree. Now, the wild card to all that, Flores, is how many threes are the Kings going to take a night? And I'm going to ask you to do a really hard thing, not just Flores, but all of you. Take the percentage out of your head that you saw this preseason. Strictly think about the amount of attempts. If the Kings shoot 35 to 40 attempts a night, to me, that is the sweet spot. Because up until last night, even in Utah, when they lost the game, they still won the battle in the paint. Last night, they got killed in the paint. Absolutely skewered in the paint. And winning the game in the paint is so important for this team to be able to get that good shooting night or great shooting night to win offensively. So, Adam, what's up, dude? We've got a WWE segment coming from Adam here in a little bit. Also, we'll be doing NFL picks with Haunted Horse right around 3 o'clock. Adam, if you want to boogie in, we got 20 minutes for the WWE segment. We can get that going. And then we'll get back to Kings. Shaw. Dennis, man, I'm trying to keep up with you. Oh, Shaq. Shaq's son. Yes, it is Shaq's son. Now, I haven't been able to confirm it. So it's in the ticker. Yes, there's a report out there that the Kings are signing Sharif O'Neal with the intention of waiving him and signing him to the Stockton Kings. He's had a cup of coffee in the G League. He played college basketball at LSU. He played for the G League Ignite. I don't mind it as a G League signing. I don't mind that if that's the case. I have not been able to verify it independently. By the way, also, another Kings note, DeMar DeRozan was not at practice today. It was a personal commitment issue, as first reported by Sean Cunningham. He is not expected to miss any additional time, but he was not at practice today. And yes, the Kings were back at practice. If the Kings didn't come out and show some fight in that third quarter, I'm still convinced that Mike Brown might have made that team walk home or bus home instead of flying on the jet. Let's see. Dorian, what's up, man? I'm not worried too much about the preseason, but a lot of the players played with no effort and or no passion. If they go 0-5 their first games, it's not going to be good. Well, yeah, if they go 0-5 their first 5, yeah, it is not going to be good. In fact, their first 5 looks like this. You start off with Minnesota. We know about that. Then you've got Los Angeles in Los Angeles, that being the Lakers. You're home to Portland. You're at Utah. And then the Kings hit the East Coast for another early East Coast trip at Atlanta, Toronto, Miami, and Toronto. The schedule is so stupid. We've talked about the Lakers scheduling, and we kind of used the example of Isaiah Hartenstein's injury. Yes, Sean's great. I love Sean. Sean's on it. If Sean puts it out, believe it. There is a handful of very dependable, hardworking, ethical media members that follow this team and do it the right way. Sean Cunningham is absolutely one of them. Agree with you 100%. Southern Justin, Iowa. You know something funny? Sean and so my wife, I'm going to tell a quick story about Sean. Hopefully Sean's not going to care. But my wife, I was doing something and I was listening to Sean on it was probably a podcast, maybe I don't know, it must have been a year and a half ago. And my wife goes, "I know him, that's Sean." And I'm like, "You don't watch basketball. You don't wait, you don't even like sports. The only reasons you used to go to Giants games with me is to look at Brian Wilson in his baseball pants. Like, how do you know who Sean Cunningham is? We used to work together. We used to work together." And so, funny enough, during the playoffs in Stockton, the game that I took Finchy to, Sean was down there covering it as well. And so we got to have an extended chat. We talked for a while. I'm like, "Sean, you know that my wife worked with you," and he remembered her too. So credit to both of them. Credit to both of them. But Sean's good people. Definitely good people. Let's see. Getting back. Derek, he had 18 straight points too. Not sure who you're talking about. Oh, Dalton Connect. There you go. Let's see. Rajon was a keeper. Baby cakes. Who are you talking about? Rajon? Rajon. There's no Rajon on the Kings. Who are you talking about, baby cakes? Yep. Let's see. Haunted Horse, my Portland Trailblazers. Still waiting for you to name 4 Portland Trailblazers on this roster this year. Can you name 4? You know a couple of them. You know a couple. Sean is like the E.F. Hutton. Yeah, Sean's a good dude. Good dude. Go check him out. Fox 40. Sean Cunningham, like him a lot. Just look at Sean getting all this run here on the King's Court. No problem with that. If you want to call the show, would love to have you. You can tap in right there using that link. Also get your chats in there, and we will go over those. I've got plenty more to talk about with this Kings team and last night. The news making the rounds that the Kings are making roster moves as we speak. They've got to get down to 15. Not a surprise. A little bit of pushback from the fan base and the chat here on the King's Court about Boogie Ellis. I understand that sentiment. We can talk more about that. You've got a full weekend of NFL football coming up as well, including the Chiefs visiting the 49ers. How about that Thursday night football game last night? Oh, that was rough. That was rough. I didn't even watch it, but I heard Al Michaels really had another moment about Dennis Allen calling a couple of timeouts. Got it. Thanks, baby cakes. I feel weird saying baby cakes. Anytime I say that here on this show, like I think of the Jake from State Farm commercial. Who are you talking to? It's Jake from State Farm. What's he wearing? Khakis. Like my wife's in the other room outside the studio. Baby cakes. What's up, baby cakes? Anyways, we go back to the phone line. Oh, we're going to do NFL early, I guess. Adam, you're after WWE or after NFL. What's up, Horsey?
Oh, I didn't know Adam was waiting.
No, he's not.
He's not? Okay, good. I didn't want to cut the line. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Yes, NFL. What a crazy season. I keep saying that. I keep saying crazy season. You want me to talk about a little bit about betting too? Because I'm doing that. DraftKings. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I'm listening.
All right. So what I like to do betting, and this, I know California doesn't have sports book yet, legal sports book, but you guys, I believe, do have Prize Picks, and these will work on that as well because you can predict players that score touchdowns, and that's where I make my money is getting parlays on touchdowns. So what I look at is over unders that are really high. because that means it's going to be there's going to be more touchdowns. So it makes sense, right? Last night's over under, I think, was like 40, somewhere around there. I like to look for games that are like 48 and more. So I found a good game this weekend. And we can talk about the game itself, and then I'll talk about how I'm going to, well, I've already made the bet, but how I'm betting it. It's not the Niners and KC, and we can talk about that, but it's Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions. That over under is 51. At least that's what it was 24 hours ago. It may have changed how people are betting it, but 51, that's really high. So I looked at the defenses, and they're really good against the run. Both defenses are top 5 against the run. So lowest rushing yards per game, but the defenses are horrible against the pass. They're bottom 5 in the pass. So sometimes I'll pick running backs for touchdowns or whatever. I went 4 receivers. I went the top 4 receivers. I went with, oh shoot, I should have wrote this down. Oh gosh, hold on. I knew I should have wrote notes, because now I'm totally brain freeze. Let me pull up the game. Scores. Let's see.
I'm trying to lay out.
It's
a little bit awkward.
It's wide receivers 1 and 2 on both teams.
Okay.
But now I'm drawing a blank. I mean, I literally can't think of Justin Jefferson's 1. I can't think of the best player on the Lions right now. I'm drawing a blank. It's
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes, thank you. I'm literally dude. I'm getting old. I'm literally channeling St. Augustine. That's a town in Florida. I'm like, not St. Augustine. Get out of my brain.
That don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense. My brain is like, dude, I've never had this problem. Williams, and who's the other one? So I got Williams. Oh gosh, I'm on the wrong page. I don't have the full anyway. So I'm playing 4 receivers. The number 1 and number 2 receivers on both the Lions and the Vikings. That's how I'm playing it. So Jim, I got I made a $1.50 bet.
Child.
Oh, nice. It's a $1.50 bet, and it's gonna pay $58 or whatever. That's what I like to do. I like to go for home run hits.
Well, okay. Why don't you set up some context really quick? Give them some context about some of these exotic parlays that you actually hit on. You are actually good at this. Give them your cruise example, and give them an example from this season.
So let me go into my sports. I'll look at my winners. So here's what I like to do. I go long odds. So I compare it. It's the best thing I can think of as a baseball analogy. I strike out a lot. I don't get singles, doubles, and triples. I strike out or I hit the home run, and the home runs pay for all the strikeouts. So I'm up. I funded my account $100. I've already pulled my $100 back, and I've already pulled $250 in extra profits back. So and then I've lost more bets in numbers than I've won. I'm winning like 10, 15% of my bets, but because they're so long and they're big wins, that's how I'm making money at it. I don't mess around with betting the game and putting $10 down to win 18. I'm betting long, and this is paid 3 years in a row now. I've hit these. So let's look at my winners.
Hey, really quick, I gotta just get a little breaking news in here. Devin Carter was actually on the court at practice today. No contact, but he was taking some free throws. Go ahead.
Injured player?
Yes, Kings draft pick, shoulder surgery.
That's right. Oh yeah, I remember that over the summer.
Yep.
And then there was speculation. Not to dig back into your show, but there was speculation like, how did they not know about it before they drafted him, or did they? Or anyway, good, non-contact, but he's healing nicely.
Southern Justin, Iowa. Do you have any of these free plays on record?
Right, exactly.
Dude,
I love it. Yeah,
good job, Justin. Good job there.
Believe it or not, I do not sell this information. I give it out on my show. I give it out on Ryan's show for free. Okay, so here's the one I hit on Sunday that paid for all my bets and made me a profit over the week, over Sunday's games. So I picked Houston this is funny because it goes exactly against what I'm saying about over-unders. This was actually a low over-under, but I had a feeling on how the defenses and offense will work out. So I bet $1.50 because I'm cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 3 touchdown scorers. I had Joe Mixon. This was the Patriots and Texans game. It was a low over-under, but I had Joe Mixon and Tank Dell. Nico Collins was out, so Tank Dell, I knew they were going to favor him. And then Hunter Henry is a touchdown. So I hit that. $1.50, it paid $58.50. It was plus 3,800. Hunter Henry, this is my thing, and this is the problem, is I don't know what I've said on your show and what I've said on my show. So if I'm saying it again, stop me. But I found a thing that rookie quarterbacks, and they were starting their rookie quarterback for the Patriots. Rookie quarterbacks, they get a little gun shy, they get blitzed a lot or whatever. They love the tight end is like their security blanket. And I've got a theory on this. Wide receivers move fast and they're quick and they're smaller guys. Tight ends are a little slower and they're bigger targets. And I'm guessing that when the blitz comes and they're like, oh shit, I got to get rid of it, they look for the biggest, slowest target that they can get the ball to. And tight ends have really good games with rookie quarterbacks. So that is a play I've been playing for 3 years. And so not only rookie quarterbacks, but bench quarterbacks. So if the starter goes down and they're going to start the backup, I always look at the tight ends. I've done well with Komet on the Bears this year with Williams starting as the rookie. He's been using Komet a lot for bailing out. And so I look for touchdown scores. Another one I had was Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers. I figured that was going to be a high scoring game. It was. I had Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, all touchdown scorers. And that, no.
You're not even telling them about your best one.
Huh?
Your best one
Super
ever.
Bowl?
Yes.
Haven't I already said that on this show?
No, reset it. You got to talk about that.
All right. So Super Bowl, this was, sorry. Well, I thought we had talked about this. So Super Bowl, Eagles, Chiefs, 2 years ago. I was on a cruise ship with my boy Polly in Baldwin Park, who's a friend of Ryan's as well. And we're on a cruise ship. So I made these bets before we left because I have to be in Oregon to make my picks. And so I picked the 3 guys, $5 bet. I picked the 3 guys that would score touchdowns in exact order. It had to be exact order. Anyone out of order, another player that's not in my picks or whatever, and the bet is dead. So I picked and I picked Hurts for the first one, but it's not passing. They've got to be running it into the end zone, rushing or receiving. It's not a pass. So I picked Hurts, knowing that if he threw the ball, the bet was off. So he ran it in for the first one. I had Kelsey for the second one. He did. And then the last one was the one where a couple possessions went through. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to. Anyway, long story short, AJ Brown, they were like on the 40-yard line and the ball goes way up deep. And that's their burner. I knew it was going to, I didn't even have to look at the number. I knew it was going to be Brown. And that ball was up there for like an hour because if he catches the ball, I get $1,000 on a $5 bet. And it hit. He caught the ball, touchdown. And we're screaming on this cruise ship. We're watching on the Jumbotron by the pool. Everyone's looking at us. And then this guy starts talking to my parents. And they go, oh, go talk to our son or whatever. And he goes, what'd you do? And I told him what the bet was. And he goes, I work for the sports book at Caesars in Vegas. Holy crap, that is an amazing bet to hit. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, just kind of figured out, I kind of thought the way the game would go. And of course, if Kelsey gets the touchdown first, it doesn't pay. If Brown gets it second, it doesn't pay. It had to be in that exact order. That was a lot of luck. But I did try to factor in the game that obviously I picked an Eagle, then a Chief, and then an Eagle again, and trying to figure out how the combination would win. Anyway, that's a lot of luck. In fact, a lot of luck involved in all this, but I do handicap these things. So
there you go.
Let's if
So
anyone wants any betting tips or whatever, you free. And you know, it's your money.
So really quick, a couple of things. I can confirm that Sharif O'Neal has signed. The Kings have signed him, and I can also confirm the timeline that we reported here on the channel, that I reported, I believe, yesterday, that the deal for Doug McDermott did start coming together. He did sign on Tuesday night, flew to Sacramento for a physical on Wednesday, and then met up with the team. So both of those spot on. All right. So
real quick, Derek in the chat, Honda Horse Whisperer, the weekly betting advice show. This was actually Ryan's idea. I come in here and talk about NFL, and you know, I'm in a group, and he sees when I get my wins, I post the wins, and they're when you're betting $1.50 and you're winning $58, they're like, whoa, that, you know, so he's like, you should talk about that on the show. So that's at his request, I'm kind of talking about it. But
so your bet this week is what? It's you're going.
Yeah, it's now that I've got it pulled up, hold on. I can tell you exactly. So I've got a bunch of bets, but the one I'm going to focus on for the show, I mean, I can literally talk about the 20 bets I've got, but the one I'm going to focus on the show that I really like is like I said, they have really bad rushing defenses, both teams, bottom rankings, but they're what's that? They're good rushing defenses, but they're bad against the pass, both teams. So I expect a lot of wide receiver touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, anytime touchdown scorer. Amon St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown. Jordan Addison, anytime touchdown. Jameson Williams, anytime touchdown. I put $2 on that. It will pay $62 if it hits.
Boom.
And I feel really good about it.
There you go. Okay. So Southern Justin, Iowa asked, does Haunted Horse know who Stu Feiner is? I had never heard the name, but I just looked up Stu Feiner.
Good, because I don't know who it is either.
It's pretty funny. So Stu Feiner is an American sports handicapper and media personality. Feiner currently works at Barstool Sports. Feiner also is known to be the real life inspiration for Al Pacino's character in the 2005 film Two for the Money. Very cool.
I have not seen that movie,
but
I heard it's excellent.
There's on his Google, or when you Google him, it says Stu quote or parentheses the source Feiner. Stu the source Feiner. Contact Stu immediately through here or give him a call at 616. Right. I don't mind giving out the number because it's on the internet freely on Google. 616-698-8870. You will get all the details you need regarding your product.
It'll be free the first time, and then
regarding your purchase.
Yes.
That's funny.
That's good. You are an entertaining guy. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So good stuff. Man.
So let's get off the betting. I mean, I can talk betting all day. I do have lots of theories, and I look for plays and different angles and things like that. But like I said, both of these defenses have great rushing defense. But through the air, they're really weak. And you were even surprised by it. And so was I when I looked it up. You were like, wait a minute, they have good rushing defenses. They are very vulnerable to the pass. And these are fast receivers, big fast receivers, and these are really good quarterbacks that like to sling it. So I like this bet.
So Vinny's coming in hot. He's like, for real, what are we doing here? Vinny, Fridays on the King's Court, we open it up to our audience, and we have a couple of different segments that a few people do. Haunted Horse comes in, talks some football, gives you a couple of picks, and Adam comes in and does his WWE segment. In between, we cover the Kings, have some fun, take calls. So that is what we are doing for real, my man.
And Vinny, takes call. You can come in here. Anybody's welcome, or everybody's welcome.
So that is why it's called Royal Rumble Friday, Vinny.
Yeah, Friday's fun. We got the weekend. We're getting man. I love.
So what's your game? You know what? Give me this because we're gonna get to Adam here in a second.
Sure, I'm gonna run through these real quick. What?
Okay, go ahead.
So the games. I'll just hit the games I really like. So let's go Niners. We got a lot of Niners fans in here, including myself. Niners KC at San Francisco. Now, I've been down on the Niners. I thought they were going to lose to the Seahawks, and they kicked the Seahawks' ass. I just injuries. However, Kansas City is also dinged up. Not as bad as the Niners because they don't have line problems, but their number one starting running back is out, and they just lost their wide receiver to a Mahomes helmet to the knee. So I actually like the Niners, and I believe they're going off at -2. I'll take the Niners -2 on that game. I think Kansas City they are the ugliest looking no-win team out there, or I mean no-loss team out there. They are winning very ugly, and they're going to match up with a San Francisco 49ers team that's very desperate. Now, I don't know if our running back's going to be out. He's got that. You said you had one of those sprains, the AC
sprain.
AC
right now,
sprain.
What I'm hearing is Mason. It looks like he's trending to probably get it shot up and give it a go. But Jennings, I'm hearing probably is not going to play. Both of those guys did not practice yesterday. Yeah. I don't know about today. My worry is the Chiefs have made a living of spending their money inside on the interior lines. Kyle Shanahan is allergic to spending money on the interior of the line. Right. And I just don't know. I'm going to go the opposite way of you. I'm going to say the Chiefs win that one, but you are right about the Chiefs winning ugly this season. What's your next one?
And you get 2 points.
Yeah. Then you get 2 points.
I mean, that's not bad.
And Ricky Pearsall will likely be suiting up, playing. He's going to probably be the Niners' deep threat this week. We'll see how it works out. Next one.
All right, let's go with Detroit, Minnesota, since we talked about it on the betting angle. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The over-under on this now, it's 50.5. The line is Minnesota -1.5, and it's in Minnesota. So a home favorite. I actually like Detroit in this game. I think Goff will throw, he throws an interception. He makes one bad pass a game. He used to do it a lot, but he's cleaned it up a lot. And Hutchinson, we haven't seen a full game without him, and Darnold needs to have pressure on him. If he has pressure, he will make mistakes. So that's the only thing that's got me a little worried is, can Detroit generate a pass rush? I still think Detroit. I like Detroit. They had one ugly loss early in the year, but I'm going to take Detroit with the point and a half. But it is in Minnesota. What do you like?
There you go.
You like anything? And Seattle playing Atlanta. What do you think? Atlanta's favored by 3. I say Atlanta wins.
I'm going to save my opinion for the Detroit Vikings game. Atlanta's playing. Go ahead.
Seattle at Atlanta. Atlanta -3.
Seattle will win that one.
You'll take Seattle on the road in Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take Atlanta.
They play well in early games. They've lost a couple really bad ones.
Early games playing Eastern time zone though. That's the problem with
well. They play well.
Do they really?
I'm telling you.
Well, that's let's do real quick one more game. I don't care about the Jets Pittsburgh on Sunday night, but Baltimore Tampa Bay on Monday. Baltimore -3.5. Which Tampa Bay team shows up? I've seen an ugly Tampa Bay this year, and I've seen a really good, slick-looking Tampa Bay.
The good Tampa shows up. They bounce back. There's a lot of morale going on there. When they went through Hurricane Milton, not only did they fly the team out of Tampa early, they flew all of the team's family members and those close to them. I think things are going good there. I say Baker Mayfield has a big game again. He had 4 touchdowns on like 36 passes. Tampa
Yeah.
rolls.
Yeah. You get 3.5 points with Tampa. Man, Baltimore, though, if they get the run going, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, I'm gonna go Baltimore on Monday night, minus 3.5. So we'll see. I say Tampa can't stop the Baltimore offense. That over under is 49.5. They expect a lot of points.
Yep.
So all right.
All right, dude.
I can wrap it up. Have a good weekend, everybody.
What do you got going? You plug your stuff really quick, my man.
I got my show, of course, at 5:00. Haunted Horse Show, weekend kickoff. Just it's even looser than this. Talk about weird news. Talk about football. Whatever the chat steers me. That's typically on Fridays. It's a real loose show, easy going. And then you can always find my shit at HollywoodRejects.com. And if you're like Hollywood Rejects, that's hard to remember. HauntedHorse.com works too.
Yeah, you won't actually find his poop there. I can promise you that. But come on, my man.
You won't find my illegitimate child.
Your Haunted Horse is always good for one of those. Love you, buddy. Have a great day,
All right, take care, man.
Good job by Haunted Horse there on the NFL picks. We're going to be doing the WWE segment here in a little bit. Yeah, we pretty much summarized all that. We didn't mention Scal's name yet, Dennis. We knew about Drew Timmy and Antoine Davis already. And we talked about Sharif just a little bit ago, saying that he is planning to go to Stockton. So thank you for throwing that in the chat. Y'all are peeps too. Welcome in, Vinny. First time here, I assume. Happy to have you here on the King's Court, man. We do a lot of good stuff here on the show. Love having you guys tune in. During the week, it is sports heavy. We hit sports hard. You know that. Focus on the Kings. But Fridays are a little bit more loose around here. We have a little bit more fun. That's why we also do our WWE segment on Fridays. By the way, tonight, 8:00, Grant's going to be back. Open forum Friday night. You can get his opinion on the Kings moves. You can get his opinion on last night. Also, don't forget, you get to do a rant with Grant. Yes, you get to choose his rant, brought to you by EDH Motors. So put your ideas in the chat. You can call with those. He'll have open phones tonight, and he will choose one of your rants. And be careful. You might become the rant if you put something nefarious in the chat or something dumb. But anyways, and it's always playful. You guys get it. You guys know Grant. So join him 8:00 tonight. Also, don't forget, talked about it earlier in the show. Get to Bennett's this weekend. Bennett's West Side Grill. That location is in Rockland in the Blue Oaks Town Center. They've got 3 in the greater Sacramento area all together. But seriously, go to Bennett'sRestaurant.com. Check out their incredible specials. They run different ones all throughout the week and the weekend. My favorite is the weekend brunch. You can get a bottle of champagne and 2 entrees for $50, under $50, I should say. And look, you get the wifey, you get the significant other, you give them the mimosas, you get a good meal, you get to watch football. Awesome atmosphere there. TVs also around the bar. Dinner. Oh my gosh. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. One of my favorites, the redfish. I say it all the time. It's not actually red like Grant's hair, but it is a blackened piece of fish that is incredible. Probably one of the only places I know in Sacktown that has redfish with some sauteed spinach and lemon. Also, their New York prime off the charts. Does not break the bank, and you will not leave hungry. But like I said, get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can look at the menu specials. You can make a reservation there. You can buy gift cards and much more. If you got holiday parties coming up, Christmas, office get-togethers, they have beautiful private dining rooms. Go check them out. Also, Grant and I, we are planning to do a watch party at some point this season from one of the Bennett's locations. If you have been to any of our watch parties, they are a lot of fun. We did one in Roseville where Grant and I shaved our heads for charity. raised a ton of money there. That was funny. That was a fun event, and y'all came out and represented. So huge thanks to Bennett's for sponsoring today's show. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com for more information, menus, gift cards, and more. Let's hit the chat, and then we're going to do our WWE segment. What's up, Lids? I see you in there. Hope you're having a good day. Yes, they did. Good way to put it. Good way to put it. And a pun on words. Lion and heart in the same sentence, and we're going to wrestling here in a second. Kings need to do something to get them to play with their heart and effort. Yeah, we hit it at the top, Lydia, and we'll go over it again before the end of the show. It was really uninspiring. You know what the Kings need to do, Lids? They need to get back here. And that's where they're at today. Practice. DeMar DeRozan was not at practice, as we said earlier today. Not expected to miss any additional time. Doug McDermott did speak to the media, as well as De'Aaron Fox and Coach Brown. What we reported on with Doug, he confirmed today in his media availability that he signed on Tuesday night. That's when the deal came together. Flew into SAC for a physical and then met up with the team on Wednesday, played last night. The cuts are in the chat. Dennis outlined those. We've gone over some of them. I can confirm the Sharif O'Neal signing. The bottom half of it was Stockton. There's a lot of reports saying that. I have not independently confirmed Stockton, but you're not signing Sharif unless he's going to Stockton. So there you go. That's a quick Kings update for you. Let's clean up the chat, and then we will bring Adam in, and we will be doing some WWE. I know a lot of you love the WWE segment. We will get through that. Lydia, she's coming in hot, man. Lydia loves her Kings. Kings lack talent in West to compete with high level. It seems so far, excuse me. Don't have my contacts in. West is so tough. Kings still lack size and athleticism. Definitely small. We knew about that coming in. Look, there's advantages to playing small. There are. Now, certain teams, you're not going to match up well. We've seen that over the years. I'm not ready to say that they can't compete at a high level. Now, competing at a high level does not mean you are competing for a championship, but I'm not ready to say that they can't do that yet. Preseason means nothing. We talked about a trend earlier in the show, Lydia, that bothered me when it comes to, little runs where the Kings go 7, 8, 9, 10 possessions without a field goal. And who's going to be that guy to step up and fix that? That says, we're not going to stand for this anymore. Should be DeMar DeRozan, right? That's who everybody assumed that would be. But again, 0-5 preseason, first time since 1981. A lot of uneasiness going around Sacramento. You got 7 days to prepare for the opener against the T-Wolves. And I would guess effort is going to be very high that night. Very high. You must have inside information. I do not have inside information. I have sources. Just because I do not have a media credential does not mean that I am not sourced and I am not working one in the same independently, working my ass off to get the information, to get it to you, give you the best coverage of the Kings in Sacramento. That's my goal. So, yes, I do have sources, and that's why I'm very careful about what I put out and report. Just like the De'Aaron Fox thing, I reported that on the 24th of June. He did the interview Monday, and he said exactly what I put out. So, not trying to toot my own horn, but I am trying to say this channel has credibility. The show has credibility. Just because I'm not at practice does not mean that I am not plugged in with the team and the building and what's going on. Horse is a Ducks fan. Yes, he is. Thank you. Yeah, you tried to say the show looked like crap, my man. You tried to say your show looked better. In fact, that is what we are going to do. Next Friday, here on the King's Court, since it's a little bit more loose and we go all over the place, we are going to put up screenshots of Haunted Horses show, and we are going to put up screenshots of this show, and we are going to hold a vote. We are going to hold a vote and see where the audience comes out. on which show on the eyes, not the host, on the eyes, they would rather be watching. You better get ready. Horse, do not change a thing about your show. Do not change a thing. I will grab a shot from a show before I announce this. Are you in? Let me know because I need your permission for that. Happy Friday, everybody. Darren, what's up, dude? How are you? Thanks for checking in all the way from Cunha, Idaho. All right, let's get to our WWE segment. Adam has been waiting. Thank you for waiting patiently, my friend. A lot of people actually tune in on Fridays for this segment right here. We bring in our WWE insider, Adam. What's up, my man?
What? Oh, hell yeah.
There you go. What's going on, dude?
What's up, my man? How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good. Horse, I think we need to link up and do one of these. I play a lot of DFS, and I've been doing a DFS show for like the last 3 weeks, and it's been super fun. I don't know if anyone in here plays DFS at all, but my hand is forced there. I can't bet on the books, which I don't think I'm good at anyways, but yeah, man, I like the football betting segment stuff too.
Cool. Glad you like it. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, it's coming around here in California. You got the more or less, but it'll be here soon enough. Definitely.
I like the new layout, all the new logos. You got the RIS. Is that short for Riz? You've got Riz, right? Oh,
Riz.
You don't know what Riz is?
No. Is that something bad? Please
No,
tell me
no,
it's
not bad. I'm sure it's like things that the kids say these days, like, oh, I think we used to call it macking back in the day. But if you've got Riz, you've got charisma, and
okay,
you can like charm people. Basically.
Dude, I might need to hire you as a consultant because I have a 10-year-old and he's starting to hit me with some of these things. And I'm like, wait, what did you just say? You know what he hit me with the other day? I don't mind saying this on a Friday. Okay. He hit me with a D's nuts blast.
I think I heard you tell him that story.
And I'm like, hold up. I'm like, first off, you're not walking away. You don't get the last word there, my friend. But I'm like, where did you learn that? So anyways, I might need some help there. So what's up, my man? What's going on in the world of WWE?
Woo. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, we're 2 weeks away, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 3 weeks away from the crown jewel. I mean, I think the biggest news was that the War Raiders are back.
The War Raiders, that's right. Hi, Lids.
I'm joking, but
so was that a previous gimmick of theirs? I don't remember.
Well, they were the Viking Raiders, and
Yes.
I think it was the War Raiders prior to the Viking look, but here we are. They gave them a little bit of a shave and a haircut, 2 cents, however that song goes, whatever it is, that little jingle.
All right.
But yeah, so those guys are back. I know you're super excited.
You know,
you can barely contain yourself.
You know, I don't mind. I don't mind them. They've got to freshen up that tag team division. The one thing AEW has going for them is they have some decent tag teams. Really, in WWE, the tag team division's an afterthought.
Yeah. Maybe that's not the Usos being in that spot anymore, but I even think that was getting a little bit stale, right? Like, I think there's a finite time that champions can hold the belts until it gets boring.
Derek giving us some context here, by the way. They were War Machine in ROH back in the day. Okay. All right.
Yeah. You know, I'll give it to them. Like, they are athletic for their size. They're sort of in that Bronson Reed kind of category, right? Where they're big dudes, but they can move around the ring pretty well. So I don't.
Bronson Reed is a big dude. He's like wide, like Mark Henry was.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like Typhoon and Earthquake and the natural disasters.
Earthquake always looked like he just rolled out of bed and
He
walked down
probably
the
did.
aisle for a wrestling match.
But he may have, sleeping on the couch in the back or something like that.
Yes.
It's possible. Okay, check this out. My wife sends me a picture today, and it's this barbecue joint we have in I live in a smaller town outside of Dallas, right? But this barbecue place is pretty good, and they've got a name for themselves. But they post a picture today. She sends it to me, and she goes, "Is that guy a wrestler?" And I'm like, "That's freaking Goldberg. Was at this barbecue joint like 2 miles from my house.
Uh-huh.
No idea he was there. It was a sad day for me, man. I got some bad news today that I didn't get to meet Goldberg at the local barbecue
I
joint.
don't think I'd have anything to say to Goldberg. Anything to say nice. I know that you loved his WCW run and you got to experience that like right in your prime of watching wrestling, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I would, probably probe him. Well, pause.
You might probe him.
That didn't come out quite the way it was
Just kidding with you,
intended.
buddy.
But I'd ask him about when he's coming back to fight Gunther.
So you think that could be in the cards? Okay.
I think it could be in the cards. From what I've been reading about, it sounds like it wouldn't probably happen anytime in the near future. But
Okay.
maybe next year, something like that. Yeah, I know it's TMI. Yeah, here come the chats.
Here
All
they
right.
come.
Yeah, I
Guys,
deserve that.
probe 'em.
Hey, Vinny, if you were wondering what are we doing here, this is it, bud. Welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to
Good job,
Fridays.
Peter. Who'd you learn that from? Schwartz. Christmas Story reference. Good job, Peter. Yeah, but you got to be careful because there is a mix of this crowd. We've got the
Yep.
Straight Kings fans that are now kind of merging a little bit into clone humor. Then you've got the full out clones that
Yep.
come for the clone humor and put up with the King stuff. So it's a fun group. It's a fun group.
Yeah.
And you're kind of getting thrown right in the middle of that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll be Switzerland or whatever. And you know what? Guess what? If you came here for Kings, we talk WWE on Fridays, brother.
Yes, we do
That's what
talk a little bit.
That's what we're doing.
Later, dude. Later, Darren. Okay, so
Bye, Darren.
what are the big stories from this week or big highlights that you want to hit?
Let's see. Yeah, the Cody Rhodes face to face with Gunther. Like I've said, I think Gunther beats Cody at Crown Royal, and I keep calling it Crown Royal. It's
Crown
Friday.
Crown Jewel. Yes.
Horse, you know what to pour me up later.
There you go.
Crown Jewel, right? I think he wins, and I think this gives him a little more legitimacy as a champion. But I think more than anything, it plants a little bit of seed of doubt with Cody. And, I think Cody will probably lose the belt by WrestleMania.
Don't you think it has to be like I don't see them pinning Cody clean because there's no way you can have one champion come out of this match looking lesser. You've got to have that that pull and tug there between the WWE universe about who's better. If somebody beats Cody or if Gunther beats Cody, I think somebody's going to get involved.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of ways I think you could go with that storyline. Is it going to be Kevin Owens? Is it going to be the Bloodline? Is it going to be Kaiser? I don't know. But I think if they do go that route where it's not a clean win, then I think there's a lot of different options you could go with the storyline. So I'm not sure. I don't know which way it's going to go. Or who might be the one to interfere with that, but yeah,
Bane
yeah,
yes.
we're just I'm gonna leave Bane with
No,
that.
you're good, dude. It happens. It's part of the growing process, my man. And as you get older, yes, that actually does happen. But anyways,
I'm a little bit closer to that
yeah,
than I'd
I hit
feel comfortable.
40 this year, so yeah.
10 more years if we're lucky.
Tiffany Stratton, she still is floating around this title picture. And this week they interjected her into the Raw women's title picture and put her in a tag match. Dude, I think I called it. I think she is cashing in for that crown jewel belt. What do you think about the women's stuff going on right now?
Yeah. Here's my biggest thing. As we bring Raw to 2 hours, we bring, SmackDown eventually will be 3, it sounds like. But I'm not really a huge fan of like separating the talent between the shows. I haven't really ever liked that a ton. And so if they went back to like the old school days where you might see any wrestler at any of the weekly shows, I think that's a good thing. I get it that it's probably easier for the travel, and better for the wrestlers and their time off in between shows and stuff like that if they have any. But I don't know. I'd like to see it go back to more of a fluidity between the Raw and SmackDown rosters.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Okay.
I dig it. I think we talked about this last week. I think Nia Jax belongs on a show like Raw rather than SmackDown. I think the SmackDown roster is like overloaded with the women's division talent. They've got so much going on there. Plus you've got Cody and the Bloodline there as well. Like, I think Raw would be a better show for maybe Tiffy and for Nia. I think they maybe align a little bit.
You bring up a good point about the women's division on Raw. You've got Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan.
And I'm trying to think of who else, like Damage Control. Are they on Raw?
Yeah, no, they are.
They are?
I think they are, yeah. Yeah, no, they got shipped to Raw away from Bailey. So, because then that'd be too weird. I guess that's maybe where, when she's ready, Charlotte Flair fits in and she's able to get back in the ring. And then you've got, well, she would be on an opposite show than her guy, Andrade. So, yeah, you know what? It's a decent argument. I don't know if they're going to go back, though.
Yeah, Romanowski just threw something out in the chat that was
a
valid point.
They go back and forth with that, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it should just be like such a hard drawn line. I think it's cool when, you show up to a Monday Night Raw and Roman Reigns comes out. You're not expecting that really. I don't know. I like the more linear, like one organization thing.
Yeah, but Romanowski, he sold me on that point. If you do that, you can only have one world champion.
Yeah, maybe you should.
But WWE has been known for that. They merge the two, then they break them apart. They merge the two, they break them apart. So,
I don't think they're going to, but
yeah, it's interesting because WWE is consolidating a little bit. And by the way, NXT has been widely successful on the CW network. They have been getting good numbers.
I think they hit almost 1 million viewers the last episode or the one before that. And I think AEW had like maybe 400,000. So
yes,
they're kind of crushing that.
They're getting really good numbers. So WWE's kind of scaled down, as you said, with the hours on Raw, and then whatever they're going to do on Netflix, it's going to be the Cena run. But AEW, on the flip side, they're trying to ramp the programming up, and there's just that can be the death of a company. And I know you don't follow AEW or cover it, but that's what WCW ran into. Just too much programming. You can't book enough. It gets too outrageous. But anyways, so the title, let's talk about Owens and Orton really quick, because we had Owens. We talked last week on the show about Owens attacking Cody the way they did it, but then Owens attacked Orton. Now, seems like this is going to be a big push for Kevin Owens. I would have thought, Adam, it would have been Orton that was making the turn at some point, not Kevin.
Yeah, and I think Orton might still. There's something in there that I don't fully trust him that he's got Cody's back, right?
Oh, that's a great
Um,
point.
but I think the Kevin Owens, Randy Orton stuff, they sold it pretty well that Kevin's just going totally rogue right now, and he doesn't care. Like, it's kind of him against the world right now. I don't know who his friends would be in the WWE.
Well, if they do it right, it works. Look at Drew McIntyre. That's
Yeah.
how they started getting him hot again. So that is all good. Let's get to Jericho did beat Goldberg several times. Derek said he hopes Braun Breaker. I hope they give Braun the belt. I
Yeah.
think this is an interesting situation. I really do, because you've got two guys that are going in different directions, yet you have two guys that you could screw up each of their directions with this feud and what you decide to do with the IC title. I mean, Jey Uso seems like the perfect candidate right now. And you take the title situations out of your head, like who the champions are right now. Just think about how they build these guys up going towards the Royal Rumble and into WrestleMania. Jay seems like the perfect guy to get that push where now he's just mega over, like Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Kofi Mania, 1 year got that as well, and get that moment at WrestleMania, or you keep the title on him and you've had Braun Adam, who's cross paths with Gunther too. So I just don't know where WWE goes. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I read something where maybe Jimmy Uso comes to save the belt for Jay. He, interferes with Jay's match with Braun Breaker and makes sure he retains the belt, and maybe that's what sways Jay back to uniting with Roman and Jimmy. Um, I think Jay could also lose the belt and reunite with Roman and Jimmy too. But I this one's tough. I think Braun does get the belt back from Jay. I've kind of switched sides on this, and I was like, early on, I'm like, way too soon for Braun to have the belt, but I could see it happening where he gets it back from Jay, and I think Jay's hard to screw up. I think he's so over right now that he really can't do any wrong. Even if he reunited with the Bloodline is maybe even more over with than Cody. I think people are really stoked to see Roman back and reuniting with Jimmy, um, and all that stuff too. So my worry with any of these guys is that they hold on to the belts for too long, or they keep a gimmick for too long. It gets stale. We get bored. We turn on them. And then we like the next guy. But
Yeah, and that's why I say with Jey Uso, and you bring up good points about the bloodline. I feel like you might be pigeonholing what he can do, and also the amount of money this dude could draw for the company by keeping him as the IC title or with the title too long. So they're bringing back War Games at Survivor Series, and I know we've got an event in between that. Jimmy keeps teasing, can't talk right now. We need him. We need him. And, they cross paths, or he cross paths with Jay, I believe, on Raw.
mhm.
Is this leading to the Rocket Survivor Series?
Ooh, I don't know if The Rock's going to be back that soon. You mean fully participating in a
No.
match?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Wrestling at Survivor Series in a War Games match. Yes.
I don't see it. I don't think it's a big enough stage for the final boss.
Okay.
I
All
I don't
right.
know. I think, you could get away with, and I think going back to the Kevin Owens thing, like, does he somehow play? Does and I've talked about Sammy rejoining with Roman and all that stuff. Is there a world where maybe Jay and Sammy and Kevin unite somehow? I don't know. I don't think so, but um, maybe there's a Sammy, Roman, Jay, and Jimmy in war games against the new bloodline. I don't know. But
Interesting.
I don't see Rock coming back to participate in a match at Survivor Series. I think he is the spectacle, right? And if he's going to be at War Games, I think we'll know by Crown Jewel. I think they'll tease it, and then he'll be more involved in the probably the SmackDowns leading up to that. But I just don't see it yet. I don't know.
They're clearly they've already started, and we've talked about it at length on this show, and we'll wrap up the segment here. But we've talked about it oh, you know what? Bane has a question. Let's
Yeah.
get to this. How do you see the potential of up and coming stars like LA Knight and Damian Priest affecting the main event scene in the next year, specifically with WWE's focus on building new talent? I think Damian Priest, and although Bane, he got way better at the end of his title run and better after his title run. I kind of feel like we're gonna get the early Roman Reigns days with Damian Priest, where they're just shoving him down our throat in the main event, and it's not gonna work. And eventually, it worked out for Roman Reigns. And I'm not saying Damian's gonna be the next Roman, but that situation I don't have as much confidence in. I mean, LA Knight, they could before the last 4 months with LA Knight, had they ever given him the WWE title or the world championship, I still wouldn't have seen it as believable. Like, I wouldn't find him as a credible champion. You give him that today, I'm like, yeah, absolute main eventer. This dude belongs. He's in the mix. He's going to be in the mix. Now, the difference is their ages, Adam. One is towards the tail end of their career. The other is just beginning. Well, actually, Priest is not young. He's not a spring chicken either, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think to your point, LA Knight being a little more advanced in age, I think they're going to let him hold on to that US belt for a while. And I love it. I think it's great. And he is the people's champ. I think Cody's the people's champ too, but
No, I think Cody is like he's the Cena aged fans champ now.
yeah.
Adults still like him, but it's all the kids, right?
Yeah.
He's driving that viewership. I think LA Knight is the 18 to 36 champ. I think
Yeah.
that's who the people are showing up at the buildings to see, and you can hear it in the reactions.
Oh yeah. I mean, the place goes nuts when
Hell, you showed
that,
up to see LA Knight in the front row.
that is my dude. And the 2 SmackDowns I've been to in the past year, the first one, he was not a part of it. The second one, he just he was a blip and he was in and out, but it goes wild. Like, you can see it on TV. Like, everybody loves LA Knight, and there's no doubt about it. I think Priest, I want to say he's what, 28? Is he older than that?
He
I don't know. We
is.
do have Google at our fingertips, which is a sad thing that I don't just look that up. But
He's 42.
Damian
Yeah,
Priest,
he's up there. He has a documentary on WWE Network.
yeah.
He went through the this up and down. Now Priest has a lot of people behind him, like Undertaker's a big Priest guy. But yeah, he's 42, man. So maybe he isn't
Holy
going to get
cow!
shoved down our throat like Roman.
Wow.
He doesn't
You
look
just
42.
No, he doesn't. So I mean, LA Knight's 41, I think.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, props to him. He looks 28 to me, I guess. Believable. But yeah, I haven't really thought about that. I thought he was quite a bit younger. So I was kind of thinking like he's got time. Like they'll make him a champ again here at some point in the future.
Well, here's the
God,
thing to remember. These guys now, it's a different generation of wrestlers. They're
mhm,
not like the 80s, 90s guys that have been jamming steroids
dying.
in their butt cheek, taking painkillers every night. And they're wrestling longer. They're taking
Mhm.
care of their bodies, unlike the generation before them. So, like an Orton, right? He's gonna wrestle. He's signed into his 50s, I think. And you got Brock Lesnar possibly coming back. So a lot of good stuff there. Adam, tell everybody where they can find you, my brother.
Yeah, cool. You can find me at the Casual Guy Cast on YouTube.
Didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
You're so good. The Casual Guy Cast on YouTube and Twitch, and I'm also on X at Casual Guy Cast. No the there, and usually I do about 2 wrestling shows a week, and then I've been throwing in a daily fantasy show, typically on Thursdays, like right before the game starts, an hour or 2 before the Thursday night game starts. I'll throw one out there. So yeah, come check it out. Hope you like it and stick around, get involved in the chat and call in if you want. That's cool too. Always love having a little guest spot or some support and from the callers. So
Good stuff. And
yeah, man.
stay tuned. There's something coming from Adam and I in probably the near future soon. So stay
Very
tuned
near
for that.
future. Let's do it.
So, let's do it. All right. Good job tonight, or good job
Thanks,
today.
brother.
Have a great weekend, brother. That is Adam. Good job. That is your WWE segment for the day. We're going to get ready to get out here in a minute. We've covered a lot of Kings basketball as well. So we do have some audio from Mike Brown today at practice. Just came in. I have not heard it. We're going to listen to it together really quickly for the first time. Here is Coach Brown at practice.
Just before practice today that there are areas that we're getting better in that that we've been emphasizing. But see, what I thought we played 2 really good offensive games in the preseason. This is the first 2. And then the last 3 weren't great offensively. Utah was probably okay, but not great. And the reason being is in our first 2 games, and we're not going to do this, but our first 2 games, and I just did the halves, just the first half, because for the most part, our main guys played in the first half of every game. Game 1, first half, I think we had, game 1 and 2, we averaged 4 turnovers for both games in the first half, and 4 points off those turnovers. Game 3, 4, and 5, we averaged 11 turnovers and 16 points off those 11 turnovers in the first half. And when you're turning the ball over 11 times and a half for 16 points, which equates to 22 turnovers and 32 points, you're not giving yourself as many opportunities to score, and you're giving your opponent confidence. Like, you turn it over that much and they're getting that many easy points, their confidence is just going like this every time it happens. And so you're making it harder on yourself. On top of that, in our players' defense, I've only allowed them really to play out of our flow. And so, like, we're not going specifically to this guy or that guy, or we're not, if a team is blitzing or if a team is switching, we're trying to see if we can still score or attack at whatever defense we face. And we did a decent job at it at times, but it puts them in a predicament because at times it's hard and they're just trying to pound away at something that they're not used to, but I'm hoping that they can get used to it. So when we do.
That makes a lot more sense. The back end of that makes a ton more sense about what we have seen offensively from the Kings. Hell, we talked about that at length earlier in the show. I said, who's breaking this run up? Who's going to step up? Where's DeMar DeRozan? Isn't that what you signed him for? That is news to me. I had not heard that. And obviously I hadn't heard that clip, but I had not heard that internally. Okay. Now, notice what Coach Brown also talked about. He also talked about the areas they were focusing on. That is exactly what I have been talking about over this preseason and still talked about last night on the post-game show, talked a little bit about today. They have done good in those areas. So I'm going to digest this sound. We'll get some more of it in. That is why you got to make sure that you subscribe to the audio version of the King's Court, the podcast with no video. The live show started after the podcast. So make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. It's where you get daily insider information about the Kings, what I'm hearing, also breaking down audio, breaking down film. I go back, watch every game. It is the place. If you want the inside information on this team, you can find it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. The King's Court with Rhino. Go check it out. Follow me on the X. The QR code will take you there, and you can get all linked up. Yeah, okay. So, Lydia, we have a lot more to talk about. So make sure you look for tomorrow morning. I will record a new King's Court talking about all this, looking at it with that lens, and we will go through it. By the way, the downloads have been through the freaking roof on the King's Court. So thank you to everybody who is subscribed and listening there. It is much appreciated, and it's only the preseason, which means the content is going to get better and more in depth as we get into the season. You've got a big weekend of football coming up. You've got a huge college football weekend as well. We'll find out more about the Kings, what they're doing practice-wise, and we will go from there. And don't forget, you got Grant tonight at 8 o'clock. Do me a favor, come back and check in on Napes. Make sure that he is doing well. Open forum, open up to you on the phones. Also, the chat, you get to choose his rant, a rant with Grant, brought to you by EDH Motors. I think it was Flores a couple of shows ago. It's like, oh, don't forget about EDH Motors. Thank you for plugging that, Flores. That's how great all of you are that tune in here to the King's Court. You are the best, literally. But yes, you get to choose his rant. So get in there tonight, 8 o'clock tonight. And thank you guys for a wonderful week. I know the product on the court has not been exactly what we have wanted as Kings fans, but this has been a great week of content altogether. We do it all again next week, and next week we do it for real. Like for real. Our new viewer today said for real. We do it for real next week. We are in the Kings season. Their first game is on Thursday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We will get you all ready for that. Everything leading up to it. Jerry Reynolds on Tuesday. Don't forget about that. And then obviously pregame, halftime, postgame, all right here on If You Don't Like That. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Do me a favor, give us a thumbs up. It doesn't put us more on your radar. It doesn't mean you're going to get notifications from us. What it does is it throws us in the algorithm and gets more eyeballs on the product. Tell a friend. We're really trying to grow this channel, and we appreciate all of you so much. And again, where else are you going to get pregame coverage? You get Grant, Jerry, and I at halftime. It's not even about me. You get Grant and Jerry at halftime of most games, and then post-game, you've got Grant and I wrapping up the night every single game night here on If You Don't Like That. Hey, make it a great weekend. Be safe. Get to Bennett's. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Get there for brunch this weekend. You will not be upset. Trust me. I was thinking about the word to say. You will not be. It's like, no, not disappointed, because you will be overwhelmed by the experience. And also, can't make it for brunch. They've got prime rib every night, tonight, Saturday, and Sunday on the weekend. So we are out of here. It has been a fun week. Thank you so much as always. Love all of you. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid like Jay Cutler. Call an Uber, call a Lyft if you're going to partake. And yes, it's going to be good, Kings fans. It's going to be good. We'll pay attention. And again, pay attention to the Kings Court audio platform, because any news breaks about trades, if I hear anything that I'm going to run with and I'm able to confirm, it will be there. So run to that, as you guys have been doing. Again, downloads through the freaking roof. Thank you all very, very much. All right, go Kings. Light the damn beam. Please, please, please still stay the hell away from Levine. I am out of here. You all are out of here. Make it a great one. Court is dismissed.